From record-breaking violent crime to staggeringly high increases in homelessness and poverty, Philadelphia is truly struggling. Philadelphia, known as the birthplace of American democracy, boasts a rich historical tapestry woven with threads of cultural diversity, innovation, and significant contributions to the nation's identity. However, in recent years, Philadelphia has grappled with numerous challenges that have taken a serious toll on the city. So, today on Across the Globe, we're going to be exploring these issues and explain how Philadelphia got ruined. Philadelphia's history. Before we dive into the main issues affecting Philadelphia today, let's briefly explore the city's relevant history. Philadelphia, founded by William Penn in 1682, has a storied history that intertwines with the narrative of American democracy, famously serving as the backdrop for the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. The city is often celebrated as a cultural hub, iconic for its rich historical landmarks such as Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell, as well as its vibrant art scene exemplified by institutions like the Philadelphia Museum of Art, famously featured in the movie Rocky. This film not only popularized the city's rugged spirit as Rocky Balboa triumphantly runs up the museum steps, but also symbolized the struggles and aspirations of its residents. However, Philadelphia's contemporary reputation has been marred by significant socioeconomic challenges, resulting in it becoming one of the most dangerous cities in America. During the tumultuous 1970s, the city recorded 3,907 homicides, a chilling statistic that reflects a broader pattern of violence rooted in systemic issues, including a history of segregation and economic inequity that has disproportionately affected communities of color. The legacy of segregation, alongside persistent poverty and lack of opportunity, has contributed to an environment where violence is more prevalent and increasing, and the city's resilience in the face of these challenges continues to be tested. So let's dive into the ongoing issues that have contributed to Philadelphia's being where it is today. Issue number 1. Crime rates, a foreboding indicator. One of the most alarming issues Philadelphia faces today is the surge in crime rates. Violent crime, particularly homicide, has seen significant increases in recent years. According to data from the Philadelphia Police Department, the city experienced a record number of homicides in 2021. By December 2021, Philadelphia had the highest violent crime rate of any American city with a population of over 1 million. Sadly, this is a trend that has continued unsettlingly in subsequent years. The complexity of crime in Philadelphia cannot be reduced merely to some simple notions of lawlessness, but is deeply intertwined with social, economic, and structural issues that have persisted over decades. Many neighborhoods, especially those in the northern and western parts of the city, have been disproportionately affected by violent crime. The prevalence of firearms, gang-related conflicts, and the opioid epidemic have exacerbated violent incidents. Additionally, economic instability plays a crucial role. Individuals in marginalized communities often lack access to resources that could provide alternatives to crime. The intersection of poverty and crime reveals a harsh reality where desperation leads individuals to engage in illegal activities. According to Neighborhood Scout, residents of Philadelphia face a 1 in 96 chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime and a 1 in 23 chance of becoming a victim of a property crime. They also gave the city a crime index of 2 out of 100, meaning it is only safer than 2% of other U.S. cities. Issue number 2. Poverty. It can be said that poverty can become a factor for high crime rates as people often resort to desperate measures to make ends meet, thus creating a cycle that can be hard to break out of. Philadelphia is one of the poorest large cities in the United States, with a significant proportion of its population living below the federal poverty line. According to Statista, in 2021, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania was the city with the highest poverty rate of the United States' most populated cities. In 2022, it was reported that more than 20% of Philadelphians were living in poverty, and about 1 in 10 Philadelphians were living in deep poverty. In 2024, things have not improved much at all. In January 2024, Y stated that Philadelphia is America's poorest big city. They noted that out of the top 10 most populous cities across the United States, Philadelphia has the highest poverty rate. Additionally, unemployment rates continue to be high in certain areas of the city, with many residents facing significant barriers to job opportunities. As of June 2024, Philadelphia's unemployment rate was 4.7%, which is less than the city's long-term average of 6.07%. However, compared to March of the previous year, when the unemployment rate was 4.2%, there has been a modest increase. Issue number 3, housing instability. Housing instability is another crucial aspect contributing to the narrative of a ruined Philadelphia. A significant portion of the city's residents face challenges related to housing affordability. The rising cost of living in certain neighborhoods, coupled with stagnant wages, has led to a housing crisis wherein many individuals are struggling. According to PayScale, Philadelphia's cost of living is 5% higher than the national average. If you couple this with low wages, it is easy to see why many can struggle to find affordable housing. According to Square, unless you're a state employee, the Pennsylvania minimum wage is $7.25, which is the same as the federally mandated minimum. This figure hasn't changed since 2009, when it was raised by 10 cents as a result of the federal increase. In 2023, it was reported that around 5,700 men, women, and children were living without permanent, functional housing in the city of Philadelphia. According to Common Good, many of these individuals and families were bouncing between temporary living situations, residing with family or friends, and couch surfing. Others were residents of shelter facilities, wards of the city or state, or something else along those lines. What's more, in June 2024, innovative mortgage brokers stated that the median home price in Philadelphia has increased by approximately 7% compared to 2023. They noted how this surge is driven by a combination of low inventory and high demand. Issue number 4, homelessness. According to U.S. News, Philadelphia had the 13th largest homeless problem in the U.S. in 2023. Philadelphia has long grappled with homelessness, a persistent issue that reflects the city's broader social and economic challenges. Despite being home to a wealth of resources and services, critics argue that the response to homelessness has often been inadequate. Many individuals and families find themselves on the streets due to a combination of factors, including a lack of affordable housing, stagnant wages, and mental health or substance abuse issues. The city's attempts to address homelessness have varied over the years, with initiatives focusing on emergency shelters, transitional housing, and supportive services. However, systemic barriers and underfunding have hindered progress, leaving many vulnerable individuals without stable housing. In January 2024, 6 ABC Philadelphia commented on the homelessness situation in Philadelphia. They stated that the homelessness numbers in Philadelphia have gone up over the past few years. In 2019, more than 5,700 people either lived on the streets or in shelters. The number then dropped in 2020 and 2021, but started growing again in 2023's totals, coming in at just over 4,700 people experiencing homelessness in the city, which was a 5.2% increase from 2022. Issue number 5, the drug crisis. Many of the issues mentioned are often caused by drug problems or worsened by them. Philadelphia has grappled with a severe drug crisis for several years, characterized by high rates of addiction and overdose deaths that have had a profound impact on the city's communities. The opioid epidemic has been particularly devastating, with the city reporting a dramatic rise in fatalities due to heroin and fentanyl overdoses. According to data from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health, in 2022, Philadelphia had a total of 1,413 overdose deaths. 80% of these 2022 overdose deaths in Philadelphia included fentanyl. This powerful drug has also been found in cocaine, methamphetamine, counterfeit pills, and others. When speaking about the issue, Mayor Jim Kenney said, "It is no longer accurate to call this an opioid epidemic. It is an overdose epidemic driven by an increasingly contaminated drug supply." Efforts to combat this crisis have included increased access to treatment programs, the implementation of harm reduction strategies such as needle exchange programs and supervised injection sites, and community outreach to raise awareness about the dangers of substance abuse. However, The crisis is compounded by socioeconomic factors, including poverty and lack of access to healthcare, which hinder effective intervention and recovery efforts. In 2023, The Guardian reported on a worrying TikTok trend that has been severely affecting Philadelphia. Known as trank tourism, The Guardian stated that low-income areas of Philadelphia have become ground zero for the dangerous sedative xylazine, and an exploitive type of content creation has sprung from this as content creators have traveled to deprived areas of Philadelphia to film abusers of the drug. Issue number 6. Mental health and community support. An under-discussed aspect of Philadelphia's challenges is the mental health crisis that many residents face. The pressures of poverty, crime, and displacement take a toll on the mental well-being of individuals and communities. Many residents do not have access to adequate mental health services, and stigma surrounding mental health issues further discourages individuals from seeking help. Without support systems in place, the cycle of despair and violence can intensify. Community organizations and grassroots movements are stepping up to fill these gaps, promoting mental health awareness and providing resources. Initiatives focused on youth outreach, violence interruption, and educational support are critical for fostering resilience in struggling neighborhoods. However, these organizations often operate on limited budgets and face challenges of their own, emphasizing the need for broader community investment and systemic change. In 2022, Temple University reported that in Philadelphia alone, 46% of adults reported experiencing poor mental health at least 12 times over the course of a year. Similarly, Pennsylvania reported 2,014 incidents of people taking their own lives throughout the state in 2021. Even more concerning, a large amount of the youth in Philadelphia are struggling with mental health issues too. In 2021, the School District of Philadelphia stated that there were signs that student mental health and well-being were under increasing strain. Then, in 2024, Grantmakers in Health reported that less than 40% of children with mental health disorders receive treatment because of stigma and barriers such as cost, healthcare provider shortages, transportation, and long wait times, according to a 2023 study. Issue number 7. Systemic inequalities. Underlying many of these challenges are systemic inequalities that have persisted throughout Philadelphia's history. Factors such as redlining, segregation, and discriminatory practices have contributed to the marginalization of communities of color. As a result, the wealth gap remains significant, with white households in Philadelphia holding a median net worth substantially greater than that of Black and Latino households. This historical disenfranchisement manifests in numerous ways, from access to quality education to healthcare disparities. The stressors associated with poverty, hunger, health issues, and lack of access to resources compound the vulnerabilities faced by financially troubled families. Addressing these systemic issues requires comprehensive policy changes, investments in community resources, and a commitment to equity and social justice. According to phila.gov, Philadelphia experiences deep, race-based disparities across all indicators of well-being. They stated that these disparities are the result of individual, institutional, and structural racism that has disadvantaged Black, Indigenous, and people of color families. Additionally, in June 2023, Y reported that findings from Philadelphia's DA office shows Black and brown Philadelphians are much more likely to be stopped by police and charged. What about how New York City got ruined?